Hello everyone and welcome back for another Brutus Monroe video. I'm Cassie. Today we're going to be making a fall slimline card, so let's talk about the products we're using. Our stamp set today is called Special Delivery, one of my absolute faves from Brutus Monroe. I fell in love with this stamp set the moment I saw it. We're also going to be using the Falling Leaves Stencil. This is a 6x9, so it'll fit perfectly on your slim lines, and that's what we're going to be using it for today. And then I have a whole array of cardstocks in the colors Poison Apple, Macchiato, Marsala, and Mustard Seed, and there's new ones in the store and I just need to get my hands on them. Lots of beautiful colors. We're also going to be doing some embossing, so we need our embossing ink by Brutus Monroe along with this gorgeous golden gourd embossing powder, and it is a warm, beautiful embossing powder. I went ahead and cut out everything that I used. I used these embossed leaves. These came from a previous inspiration box, so if you have those, pull those babies out. Let's use them. And then I have this piece of mustard seed cardstock cut down to 4 inches by 8.5 inches. I don't need that big of one, but that's what I cut off when I cut down my slimline. So I'm going to tape down my Falling Leaves stencil right over the top of this. And then I realized I wanted to do embossing, so my first step should actually be to use my magic powder bag over the top of that because I don't want powder sticking in areas where I don't want it, so the magic powder bag keeps that from happening. And then I'm just going to take the lid off of my embossing ink and then push that into the stencil. So all I'm doing, and it's nice on this darker cardstock, all I'm doing is just putting that embossing ink right on there, and you can see where I've put it. So I'll pull back my stencil and I'll see that I'm not super happy with a couple of spots, so I can just push that right back down in there. Then I'll peel away my stencil and I'll clean that off later, but I'm going to take this golden gourd embossing powder, which is just a beautiful warm gold embossing powder. It is stunning. It looks kind of orange right there, but when we heat that up, it is, it's gorgeous, friends. It is gorgeous. So I'm putting that all over that background, and there's a lot there. And then we'll get started with our heating. So I'll pull up my heat tool, kind of make sure that it's nice and hot before you bring it up for embossing, and then you'll be able to tell that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing because it's going to change that embossing powder. You can just watch it melt, which is so satisfying. I'm not going to make you watch the whole process, but I'll just tell you I enjoyed every bit of this part. All right, now that that is done, I am going to trim this down because, like I said, it's a little bit big. All I need is 3.5 inches, so I'm going to cut off a 1/2 inch here. And if I want to use that on the inside, I can, but I'm not going to. It's just not really big enough to use on the inside of my card. I have this piece of white cardstock, and this is cut down perfectly. I think it's like 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and it's going to fit my mailbox perfectly on there. As I've told you before, I love this stamp set. It is my I think it's the very first stamp set I ever bought from Brutus Monroe, and I have never stopped using it, and I just love it. So I've got both pieces on there. I can't find my magnet, so we're going to be really careful. We're using our MISTI, and each time I make sure and push that piece of paper really tightly up into the corner, and then I'm going to re-ink it again with my Raven Detail ink, and we'll stamp it down one more time, and we have a beautiful impression. And then we're going to get ready to start doing our easy Copic coloring. So I'll put the colors up on the screen for you. I'm going to make a red mailbox. I don't know if you can do that in mailbox land, but in my little world you can, because I would love to have a red mailbox. So we're going to have it be a nice dark R59. And I really don't have any darker reds. I think I do, but not for the look I was going for. So this is where I'm going to bring in my E29. That is going to be my deeper, darker color. So if you don't have all the colors, which I still don't, even after all these years, you can make do by using some of your neutrals. Those can make some really great undertones for your cards or your darker tones. Then I'm going to grab a golden brown for my post, and then we'll come in with some E99 for the flag and some shadowing, and then we'll put a little E53 on our mail. I want to bring in some more of that gold, so what I'm going to do is just take my ink pad right to the edge of my piece, dump some of that golden gourd embossing powder over the top, and then take my dry paintbrush and push away any embossing powder where I don't want it. So if you want a little bit more jagged edge, you can just absolutely do that by brushing away some of that embossing powder, and then I'll heat set that till that's smooth and melted. And then we'll do the exact same thing to the top. And like I said, if you don't like where the embossing powder goes, you just wipe it away. And so I'll just wipe away what I don't want, and then I'll heat set that. And then our piece, our main panel, will be all ready to go. I have taken some of those leaves and just kind of positioned them behind there to see how those are going to look. And then I'll remove my piece and I will glue down each leaf individually. This leaf die is no longer available in the store. I do apologize for that. At least I didn't seem to find it. But like I said, it was a part of a previous inspiration box. So pull that out if you want. If you do have something like this or a die that you plan to use and you want to add a little bit more depth to your leaves, I suggest doing some little ink blending on the edges. You can do that with like a brush, or another option would just be to take the ink pad directly to your leaf. I've done that before. I mean, basically like I did for the embossing ink. You could do that with the colored ink, and that would give you a really cool kind of distressed effect on your leaves. Just gluing down all of those leaves, and yes, I have some of those hanging off the edge, but that's okay. We're going to cut those off later. So now that I'm happy with that, we'll go ahead and glue our panel right down. You could add some foam tape, but I don't want this to be too crazy bulky, so I'm just going to glue it down. And then I'll flip this panel over and I will cut off all of the excess using one of my Brutus Monroe scissors, which is easy to do. And then it's nice because it also gives the impression that there's more going on outside of the card. So there we go. And then I'm going to get my base ready. So my base is some more of that mustard seed cardstock that was cut down to 7 inches by 8.5 inches, scored at 3.5 inches. And then we have our beautiful base for our slimline, and it fits perfectly. So now I'll just take that same liquid glue and put that all over the back of our panel, and then we can adhere this right down to the card base. I do have some leftover leaves, and y'all know I like to decorate the inside, so I'm going to take those extra leaves and we're going to glue those right to the inside in the lower right-hand corner and the upper left-hand corner. And again, we'll have some hanging off the edge, but I'll cut all of those off as well. And then we'll just have this really fun little card that has, leaves on the inside. So I would love to know what you think of this card. Go ahead and leave that down in the comment section down below. If you liked it, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for stopping by, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.